Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Aditi. I'll be talking about teleconsultation in uveitis in the COVID-19 era, a tertiary care experience. I have no financial disclosures. So we were struck by the COVID pandemic in 2020, wherein the eye care was limited to just ocular emergencies, and the mobility of people were restricted due to the nationwide lockdown imposed by the in several countries as well as in India. So to provide continuity of care and to assist these patients, I'm talking about the uveitis patients in this regard, to visit or who were unable to visit the hospitals, they were provided with the teleconsultation services. And this were as per the teleconsultation practice guidelines released on 25th of March 2020 by the government. So the aim is to study the use of teleconsultation as a tool to manage patients with uveitis during the COVID-19 lockdown period in India. So this is a cross-sectional study of 97 uveitis patients. They were interrogated for their ocular complaints using an online smartphone-based app, which is a video consulting platform. The study was conducted by a tertiary care eye hospital from 1st April 2020 to 30th of May 2020. So there is a phone-based app on the consultant's phone, and there is also a hospital website with the same application, wherein the patient schedules an appointment. There is an option to upload investigations and eye exam related documents prior to the consultation as well. Following at the time of the appointment, the consultant and the patient has a face-to-face video communication. Patient examination is done, and doctor finally puts the advice and the prescription, which is also added onto the app, which is accessible to the patient. All this was done by a single consultant. So the doctors teleconsulted either from a residence or from hospital using a closed chamber or a room, maintaining complete consultation ethics. Patients were interrogated for their ocular complaints in detail. There can be two types of patients. The new patients, vision was grossly assessed. Extraocular examination was done by asking the patients to come closer to the camera to move the eyes as per the direction of the examining doctor. So for follow-up patients, there's a backend team giving a EMR record of the patient to the consultant. And based on that and based on the examination, a presumed diagnosis of either recurrence or remission of the disease was made. And accordingly, the patient's medications were adjusted or restarted. So the patient's demographics, ocular findings were noted during the video consultation, and also details of the document uploaded by the patient. A provisional diagnosis is made by the consulting doctor, and treatment and follow-up details were collected from the PDF. This was analyzed using Microsoft Excel. So gender-wise, coming to results, the gender-wise distribution, most of the patients we saw were females. Most of them fell in the age group between 18 to 40 and 40 to 60 years of age. So a lot of them were follow-up visits. There were 6 patients who were primary visits. Most of them had uveitis, and others being uveitis plus scleritis, some scleritis, episcleritis, and others. So most of them had active disease. A few of them had inactive disease. About 15% had to be referred back to the base hospital for further investigation and further management. This is a case example, a 61-year-old gentleman who's a known case of recurrent viral keratouveitis secondary to HZO. He presented with pain and redness. So on teleconsultation, we noticed there was circumcorneal congestion as seen in the picture, dilated episcleral vessels, corneal scar. So we made a provisional clinical diagnosis of recurrent viral uveitis and started the patient on topical steroids, cycloplegics, along with the oral non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So the second picture that we see is a follow-up visit after 1 week. The patient was symptomatically better with resolved conjunctival and circumciliary congestion. So teleconsultation cannot replace an in-person examination. There is always a risk of making provisional diagnosis error, but we always work with the principle of do no harm or primum non nocere. So to conclude, it was a very encouraging experience. A teleconsultation is better than no consultation at all, and it was a forward triage in complicated cases. So in such a situation, necessity certainly was a mother of improvisation. Acknowledging the telemedicine theme of my institute. Thank you.
taking time into consideration, request you all to only take up 2 questions per speaker. Thank you so much.
Aditi, in all fairness, do you think it is a great thing to do a teleconsultation, because there are so many things that we really cannot see on an ophthalmic teleconsultation, like you can't see the status of the cornea, you cannot stain, you cannot see the IOP, you cannot see the inside of the eye, where there is almost 3/4 which are not being seen. Do you think teleconsultation is a good idea?
So teleconsultation, like I said, cannot really or in any way replace the clinical examination. A lot of things cannot be done over the phone, over the app, over a video consulting platform. But we were faced with such a situation, and we've seen patients who have not have had access to clinical care or ophthalmic care come back later with much worsened disease. So if we could at least do something for those patients during that lockdown, when there was no access at all and only emergencies were catered to, no vehicle, no movement. So I think that certainly did help a lot of patients. But still, it is true that it cannot really replace. So this was only pertaining to the lockdown period. Of course, all uveitis patients required to be seen clinically, and this can never be a replacement, but it did help all those people during that time.
I feel the scleritis cases, I could make a diagnosis in scleritis cases in particular, that looking at the eye and symptoms, but otherwise is very difficult in new cases.
Just a small question. If we're going by the results of your study, are you continuing to offer teleconsultation to the patients even after the lockdown is over?
The patients have been coming to the hospital after the lockdown is over. See, most of the uveitis patients during that time and even now are on immunosuppressants. I mean, you are also putting them at risk at times, when of acquiring COVID infection also. But now when things are almost normalized everywhere, they have come for follow-up. We have seen them. And we have also seen a set of patients who could not come, could not connect to us, ended up having really bad disease, which at least there is still a chance that if they could have connected on teleconsultation, they could have not gone so worse.
So, excuse me. How
Yes,
many
sir?
cases do you think your diagnosis or a treatment has not worked for the particular patient, and you are bound to stop the treatment and ask them to come even in an emergency or any case out of your study?
So this was only for a period of 2 months, and there was no such case. But the cases where we felt that required, there were 5 such cases that had to be referred back to the hospital. They were primary consults, and there was one primary consult which was episcleritis, and the diagnosis could be made over that and did not require a base referral. But other than that, the follow-up patients, since we've been seeing them, I think it worked well for us.
Request you to now move to the next speaker.